is April 17th, 2025. We got a lot going on. Always do. Tonight, the Houthi port was destroyed. Ras Isa. Big strikes were going on at this port. And so we'll cover everything else leading up to it, but seems a hammer is being dropped on the Houthis. And, you know, some people are like, why are we striking them? I mean, I don't know. Mixed feelings. We've covered this. So, did over on PrepperNow, the one. I actually have to get back. I have a little bit more free time this weekend. After a few things, we got a little sports ball on Saturday in action tomorrow, but we're gonna cover it all. Probably go live after this. Didn't last night, but I was tired. Tonight I'm not. Tonight I'm kind of invigorated, and I can sleep in tomorrow. So we're gonna do all the things. We're gonna cover all the stuff. We're gonna do the old crisis report. Do what we usually do here on crisis report. And I guess I'll save it. I got something to get off my chest. We'll save it for PrepperNow afterwards. But evidently the Garcia guy down in El Salvador, everybody's all worried about the MS-13. No, he's not MS-13. He's a doting dad. This Garcia guy, he's alive because there was reports he was dead. And he was having margaritas with Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland. So I guess everybody's okay now. But I don't think he will be returned to America. So I don't know. It's amazing, the mental gymnastics. But I don't know. Stick to your guns. You know, if it feels right, then okay. Feels wrong, feels off. Okay. I think we're going to have a post about that over on a nice live on PrepperNow later. So let's get started here. You know, oh, by the way, yes, it's growing. It's growing. So, did one earlier there. Check it out. So this is your crisis report for April 17th, 2025. We will do the usual. Oh, bush. There you go. Head for the mountains. That's good seltzer. All right, friends, let's get started on the Trump tariffs and everything else, and Russia and America and China, all the stuff. It's all going down. And we're going to cover it here on your most comprehensive news on YouTube. We love Borg. Thanks, Borg. You're doing great, bud. By the way, earlier today, I had a moment of anger because I'm looking at stuff on this channel. Like the fact that most videos now only make $3 to $4 because they basically are effing the small creators here. And there's full threads going to Reddit. It's all over the place. And I love it. They got like the Google troll that comes and says, no, it's not, no, they don't do that. No. And then 50 creators are like, yeah, they do. If they want to bat Oceania, they'll do it. But I've had thoughts about taking this over to Rumble. Got to be honest with you. Because if it just gets to a point where I'm making nothing, it's like, well, I'm just rewarding bad behavior at that point. And so I've thought about taking it to Rumble. I've thought about taking it over to Subscribestar and Locals. But I don't want to get greedy or anything like that. I want to provide the service, but at the same time, if you know my life at all, it's not easy. It's work. There's work. involved. There's work. And so I want to make it free, but at some point, if they keep going the way they're going, and they might not, they do this every year. In springtime, it's always dead on YouTube, and then summer gets better, and in the fall, you make your money. Did it last year, did it the year before, it is what it is. But, you know, it takes a while to gather this, it takes a while to do this, and when you're looking at $3.73 for your efforts, you're like, whoa, let's reassess. So I don't know. I'm just kind of putting that out there. I've been thinking about that for quite some time. I don't want to make people have to pay for this. I don't want to put it only on some version of a pay kind of thing. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm just putting it out there because it's what I do. I talk. And so if you want to put thoughts and all that, or, you know, leave a comment. What do you think? You know, I wouldn't make it more than like $2 a month if I were to put it onto a pay type of thing. You know, I'm not looking to get rich here. I'm just looking for a compensation of my time, something between $10 to $15 an hour, honestly. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, YouTube might get their act together, and everybody else is pissing and moaning and complaining about it too, because they see what they're doing. You know, let's be honest. In the end of the day, this Google thing and YouTube and Alphabet is a business, so they're going to do whatever they can to, you know, make it so they don't have to pay out money. So, yep, that's what they do. So, all right, friends, let's get started. Sorry, I just was on my mind to put it out there to the public. So I look forward to the guy who will randomly comment and call me greedy for for having the audacity. All right, Trump tariffs push prices higher, consumer demand lower in near-term recession baseline scenario, according to CNBC. And remember, folks, all I do is read. All I do is read. That's all I do here. I'm just a reader. He's the reader. He's the reader. Russia and the United States have not yet agreed on the key parameters of the agreement of the settlement in Ukraine, said Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov. Contrast, Washington tries to explain its efforts. A peace deal in Ukraine is nearing as the U.S. and Russia have come to an understanding, Trump's special envoy Witkoff said following a meeting with Putin. According to him, this peace deal concerns 5 territories, but in reality, it is much more. It is about security protocols, about NATO's Article 5, and there are a lot of details. Let's hope that they do get some form of a ceasefire in Ukraine. It's time. So, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Trump's special representative, Steve Witkoff, said the U.S. and Russia are close. Following his meeting with Putin in St. Petersburg, he said his parties had come to an understanding. Moscow was aiming for a permanent peace, not just a truce. The deal, he said, 5 territories, security, NATO as well. Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi landed in Moscow to meet with war criminal Putin. This is obviously the World War III idiot guy that now has a DJ channel that is randomly and massively losing tens of thousands of subscribers because he took one of the better channels that was gathering intel and turned it into his little DJ thing. I don't know what the hell the guy was thinking, but all right, good luck, bud. Only weeks after the U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth stated during his visit to Manila, the United States is committed to the defense of the Philippines, where it will soon deploy the Navy Marine Expeditionary Ship Interdiction System, or Nemesis. U.S. Marines with the 3D Marine Littoral Regiment, 3D MLR, based at Marine Corps Base Hawaii, were spotted yesterday at Cagayan North International Airport in the northern Philippines, unloading equipment, including several Nemesis launchers. Iran's foreign minister arrived in Moscow a few hours ago to hold diplomatic talks. He is expected to meet with senior Russian officials, including Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, to discuss bilateral relations, regional and international developments, and recent indirect nuclear negotiations with the United States. Araghchi will also deliver a written message from Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, to President Putin, highlighting the strategic ties between Tehran and Moscow amid ongoing nuclear talks with Washington. Saudi Arabia's defense minister Khalid bin Salman arrived in Tehran on Thursday, April 17th, 2025, for an official and significant visit aimed at strengthening the improving relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran. During his stay, he is expected to hold important meetings with high-ranking Iranian military and political officials, including Major General Mohammad Bagheri, Chief of Staff of the Iranian Armed Forces. The discussions are anticipated to cover a wide range of regional issues such as the Gaza conflict, situations in Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, Iraq, and broader security cooperation in the Persian Gulf. Parking Chinese electric vehicles is now banned at some sensitive UK Ministry of Defense sites due to concerns that sensors in these cars could be used to collect intelligence. And trust me, they're doing that. Staff at key locations like RAF Whiten have been instructed to park EVs with Chinese technology at least 2 miles away from the critical buildings, following fears that built-in cameras, microphones, and internet connectivity could enable remote surveillance or tracking. Now, don't get a Tesla, folks. No, buy this sucker, the BYD machine, which will basically hack for the Chinese government, because that makes friggin' sense. Ban is not nationwide, but applies to selected high-security sites, reflecting growing alarm over the potential misuse of data gathered by these vehicles. So let's really get this video downranked by shit-talking on China, but and God knows the YouTube likes to suck off the China. Europe is down. There's this thing at the end. I didn't put it on here, but it's like all the different countries that are not buying Teslas anymore and how much they're down in sales. You know, Germany's like down 62%, you know, because those friggin' idiots probably think that they're doing something good with the world. Meanwhile, they're going to bring in the BYD machines, and these things are going to literally just strip mine as much intelligence tracking and surveillance as that they can get. And the idiocy of it is just baffling, but it's where we are. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, total losses of Ukrainian armed forces on the Kursk direction since the start of the invasion on August 6, 2024, amount to approximately 74,780 personnel as of early April 2025. Losses include killed, wounded, captured soldiers. Ministry also reported significant losses in Ukrainian military equipment, including hundreds of tanks, armored vehicles, artillery, and other hardware over the course of the fighting in the region. Top officials in Paris for talks on Ukraine and Iran, said U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, White House Special Envoy of the Middle East Steve Witkoff, meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron and French Foreign Minister Jean-Noel Barrot in Paris at the Élysée Presidential Palace. Macron is slated to make the case for more Euro-American alignment on the approach to the ongoing Russo-Ukrainian war. How bad do you think my butt would get kicked in France when I go there and I start talking like that? I need to buy a baguette, please. I am the American with my big family. I'm here to have your food. Additionally, European nations, particularly the E3 bloc, have also claimed to be sidelined. I know, I shouldn't be humorous. Just be straight arrow and just straight and just no humor whatsoever. In anticipation of the second round of talks this Saturday in Rome, Italy, tentative location, Macron is expected to also make the case for increased Euro-American alignment on the resolution issues surrounding both Iran and the war in Gaza Strip. There was an explosion in Northrop Grumman. I'll stop. Missile factory in the United States. The building of the Northrop Grumman factory, which produced intercontinental ballistic missiles, was completely destroyed in the explosion. Local outlets published footage from the scene. The explosion, which occurred on April 16th, 7:38 a.m. local, destroyed a building Northrop Grumman Innovation Systems plant in Promontory, Utah. Yes. Well, the company manufactures solid rocket motors. An incident occurred this morning in the buildings at our plant in Promontory. We are working to determine the cause. Employees who were working in or near the building today are accounted for and have no serious injuries, company stated. Northrop Grumman did not comment on the cause of the explosion or the production status, but footage released by the local TV station shows extensive damage. Okay, right cheer. I'm going to do that. I'm here for the hotel. You're going to give me a free rental vehicle, and then you give me the hotel. I'm here. I want Vichy France back, please. I'm going to do that. That's a great idea. Right cheer, I like you. That's good stuff. All right. I'm going to hone on the German accent and really get some free baguettes and stuff. Tell that to my wife. She'll freaking die. U.S. imposes sanctions on a Chinese refinery accused of buying Iranian oil. Treasury Department imposed sanctions on Wednesday. Chinese refinery accused of purchasing more than $1 billion worth of Iranian oil, saying proceeds help finance both Tehran's government and Iran's support for militant groups. I can't do a Trump voice winning streak. I can only do a New Yorker. So from living there, I actually got pretty good with it. I'll do the next one in New York voice. Sanctioned refinery at China's Shandong province received dozens of shipments of crude oil from Iran worth more than $1 billion. Trump administration said some of the petroleum came from a front company for Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard, U.S. authorities said. Officials also announced that several companies and vessels involved in the shipments were added to the sanctions list. New penalties were imposed. Office of Foreign Assets Control follow earlier efforts by the administration to disrupt the flow of Iranian oil. So, there we are. Or facilitate Iran's oil trade places itself at serious risk, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said. A mini gold rush is brewing 3 miles below the sea level. Mini gold rush brews 3 miles below the sea level. Trump is expected to issue an executive order that would step up the plans to harvest polymetallic nodules that form beneath the Pacific. These black lumps are rich in nickel, cobalt, and manganese. So, all right, New York voice. The White House says that 245% Chinese tariffs. Yeah, it's false. They don't do that. China faces 125% reciprocal tariffs, 20% tariff to address the fentanyl crisis. But remember, there's no fentanyl crisis. This guy came and tried to tell me that as a recovering alcoholic, okay, he tried to, what did he say? It really was, I destroyed his comment in about 2. I actually took one down. I thought it was a little too pointed. He basically said that it was the fentanyl's problem, that people should just say no to fentanyl. Like, we shouldn't worry about the production in China, right? People should just say no. And, of course, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, an ounce of alcohol doesn't kill a freaking city block. A fentanyl ounce does, and then some. It was really a not too wise comment. It was a softball to me. It was like let's just get debated out of the room. Like, I would have been embarrassed. And I'm looking at all this, 20% tariff to address the fentanyl crisis. Yeah, fentanyl is not alcohol, and as a recovering alcoholic that'll have 19 years in November, it's not even in the same freaking galaxy as fentanyl, alcohol and fentanyl. My daughter could accidentally drink an ounce of alcohol and be okay. She gets like a couple of little like needle pricks of fentanyl in her, she's dead. So that's not even in the same like galaxy. I don't even know what to do. I saw it. I was just so baffled. I was like, when you're so wanting to attack me that you put the most boneheaded, stupid statement like that. That's as dumb as it gets. And maybe it's a little bit personal for me because I've seen actually someone unalive themselves in a meeting. You know, it just really struck me. It really aggravated me. I was like, hey, come on, man. You can call me a bonehead. You can call me a name, but like, don't come and give me like a stupid freaking statement like that. We're back. Section 301 tariffs on specific goods between 7.5% and 100. I mean, give me a one or two. Am I wrong or am I right? Is alcohol and fentanyl in the same galaxy? One if it is, two if it's not. Tell me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the guy's right. I need to go back and apologize. Fentanyl and alcohol, same galaxy, same type substance. One for yes, two for no. Tell me. Looks like the era, wow, it's a lot of twos. Looks like the era of EU immigration has ended for Germany last year. It was the first. All right, A.M. Ryan says one. Fair enough. Mostly Poles, Bulgarians, and if you want to, give me a reason why. Why do you think alcohol and fentanyl would be in the same kind? And don't attack her. She's a great person. She's a member, and I give her kudos for having the courage. A.M. Ryan, if you would like to explain why you think that alcohol and fentanyl would be kind of in the same category, okay? Looks like the era of EU immigration has ended for Germany. Last year was the first year with a net loss of EU foreigners, mostly Poles, Bulgarians, Croats. Eastern EU countries have now converged enough for migration flows to reverse. Both warp your brain. Okay. I mean, you are correct on that. My problem is the lethality of fentanyl. That's what it is. So I appreciate you. Thank you for being honest and putting it out there and being the lone person that digressed from everybody else. I think that takes guts. And we allow everybody to speak their mind here. We want to allow that. We respect people. But, I don't know. I disagree on that. So I give you kudos for having the guts to do that. But, yeah, they do both warp your brain. Alcohol warp my brain. Don't get me wrong. And fentanyl can be, done in ways where it doesn't kill you. But I think we all can agree when it comes to that, and I'll end this here, that, sure, people have free will, and they can decide to do something or not. But fentanyl being mass-produced and sent over to the United States from a rogue other country called China, it's not being done because they're trying to sell bottles of whiskey. It's being done because they want our children to overdose. So, and, A.M. Ryan is saying basically kind of something like that. So, they both hurt you. So, I get it. U.S. officials are planning to use negotiations with 70 nations to ask them to disallow China to ship goods through their countries, per the Wall Street Journal. U.S. is reportedly attempting to isolate China. That's the whole point of the tariffs, folks. President Trump is set to cut foreign aid by 75%, slash the State Department's budget by 50%, strip funding from the UN, NATO, and over 20 international bodies. Notably, aid to top recipients, Israel and Egypt, remains untouched. How China's military is quietly gaining control of the Pacific. China has quietly extended its military reach far across the Pacific by building dozens of ports, airports, and communications projects at key points in a vast region that could shut out the United States. Count Chad, thanks, brother. Fentanyl, opium wars, globalism, unequal treaties. It was done to China. Now it's being done. Hey, you know what? You have an excellent point there. You are correct. The opium wars were terrible things that were done by the West, specifically Britain, to the to the Chinese in the 19th century, all through it. I think there was 3 opium wars, if I remember, 2 or 3. Great, excellent post. That's why I love this channel. This is where the smart kids come, okay? Pacific by building dozens of ports, airports, communication projects at key points in a vast region that could shut out the United States and its allies in the event of a war, new report says. Projects appeared civilian in nature, but were reality strategic nodes stretching 3,000 miles. Papua New Guinea, immediately north of the U.S. ally Australia, to Samoa, lies about 40 miles away from the U.S. territory of American Samoa and Polynesia. According to the new study made available exclusively to Newsweek, the remote, scattered islands of the Pacific were once crucial to American warfighting strategy in World War II, and they could play a role in the next global conflict, too. That is, of course, called island hopping, and it was how the Pacific was won. Shelter-in-place alert issued Florida State University after a report of an active shooter. President of the United States Donald Trump welcomes Italy Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni to the White House. President Trump says he will make a very good deal with China. Let's hope. Get all this crap over with. Reporter asked Meloni about her political identity. She said, "Someone will call it Western nationalism. I don't know if it is the right term, but I'm sure we are stronger together. I'm here to find a way to make it stronger both sides of the Atlantic." Meloni is not one of my more least favorites. I think, I don't know. I find her to be, I know there's some globalism in there. I know that, I've heard she might be a WEF puppet, that kind, I don't know. But I don't hate her. And, I don't know. POTUS, President Trump, to Italy Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. I think she's a great prime minister. I think she's doing a fantastic job in Italy. She's one of the real leaders of the world. So, I don't know. I've heard good and bad. That's the thing with everything. The quote kept going to my head today. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. There's nothing absolute. Trump is not absolutely the best. Meloni is not absolutely the best, or absolutely globalist, or absolutely anything. She's Italian, but there's always a gray area. 9 United States Air Force transport planes carrying hundreds of bunker-penetrating bombs arrived in Israel in the past 24 hours, per KANN News. Shipments allow Israel and the U.S. to attack Iran's nuclear facilities in the event that negotiations fail. United States officials speaking to the Financial Times claim that CGSTL, Chinese satellite company, ties the country's military, well, they all are, providing the Houthis with imagery to help them target U.S. warships and international vessels in the Red Sea. Officials added that Washington has repeatedly warned China, but Beijing has ignored these concerns. Breaking heavy U.S. airstrikes on Sana'a, Houthi-controlled northern Yemen. We're going to get more into that. That's coming. United States airstrikes destroyed fuel terminal at Ras Isa port in Al Hudaydah region, Houthi-controlled western Yemen. United States Central Command announces the total destruction of Ras Isa fuel port in Hodeidah province held by Houthi terrorists. Major warning to Houthi terrorists and their Iranian masters. Destruction of Houthi-controlled Ras Isa fuel port. Houthis have continued to benefit economically and militarily from countries and companies that provide material support to designated foreign terrorist organizations. Iran-backed Houthis use fuel to sustain their military operations as a weapon of control and to benefit economically from embezzling the profits from the import. This fuel should be illegitimately supplied to the people of Yemen, despite the foreign terror designation that went into effect on the 5th of April. Ships have continued to supply fuel via the port of Ras Isa. Profits from these illegal sales are directly funding and sustaining Houthi terrorists. Goes on from there. So the Houthis, their Iranian masters, and those who knowingly aid and abet their terrorist actions should be put on notice that the world will not accept illicit smuggling of fuel and war material to a terrorist organization. Interesting. New York Times is confirming the United States is withdrawing hundreds of troops from Syria. Russia, explosion this morning at a production facility in Nekrasovka, suburbs of Moscow. Incident occurred on the territory of the, oh, here's a big one. Oh my God. Vitorali Umin Product Plant. It's a long name, no? Preliminary, during the technical startup process, a dust emission occurred. Okay. Vitorali Umin Product. Well, fire at the Rotenberg Escalation power plant in Israel. At the same time, an explosion destroyed a building at Northrop Grumman's systems plant in Utah, USA, where the company makes solid rocket motors. Trump still intends to establish a ceasefire in Ukraine by the end of the month, within the first 100 days, according to The Economist. We'll see. Trump has demanded that the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell be fired. He said his termination can't come fast enough. We'll have more on that in a moment. Russia's Supreme Court has officially lifted the ban on the Taliban and removed its classification as a terrorist organization. Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski says every Republican senator is flat out scared of Trump and fears his retaliation. Yeah, I would if I were you. Gotta be honest. Not a big fan of Lisa Murkowski. You should see the way she got in. Go read up on how she got into office. It's an interesting read. Donald Trump has directed the U.S. military to pull hundreds of troops out of Syria. FSU shooting suspect, 20-year-old Phoenix Ickner, had previously attended an anti-Trump rally. Whoa! You mean the guy that went and did the violence on the FSU was a leftist? Who could have saw that happening? Palantir is arming ICE with AI tools that integrate federal data to identify, monitor, and rank deportation targets in real time. MS-13 member Kilmar Abrego Garcia spotted sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen as El Salvador deportation fight intensifies. The guy is alive. Hey. Everybody's worried. He supposedly got shipped to El Salvador and was, hung from the neck until dead. I guess that didn't happen now, did it? No, he actually looked like he's pretty good weight. Obviously enjoys a nice margarita. So, I don't know. He's got restraining orders from his former wife. Courts have called him MS-13 in their language of their docket. I don't know. If you're all team Garcia, then, it's not like his name is Kilmore. Turns out the man who firebombed Governor Josh Shapiro's house is a Marxist and a Free Palestine activist. And as Amir Sarfati put it, goodbye story. Yep, you'll never hear about that man again. Okay? So where is that? Where's the violent righty? I'm sure there's one in there somewhere. January 6th, dude. Oh, yeah, such a terrible night. They broke a window and people died. It was actually at the hands of the other side. So, Al Arabiya Network. U.S. strikes in Yemen tonight were the most powerful in the past month. Arab media outlets are reporting only 30 overnight attacks on Houthi targets in Yemen, including about 20 in the Sana'a province. According to these sources, the attacks were particularly powerful due to the type of bombs used. According to Al Jazeera, within 24 hours, the United States carried out 68 attacks on the Houthi targets in Yemen. Attacks last night, as mentioned, were concentrated in the Sana'a province with an emphasis on the wrong syllable, on the Al-Hafa area in the Sabin district of the city of Sana'a itself, but attacks were also carried out in the Hodeidah province, Dimar district, and Al-Jaf district. President Trump said the hit that was attempted on him has not been explained perfectly by either the Secret Service or the FBI, Well, I wonder why. Gosh, you'd think they'd want to get to the bottom of it. I would like to hear the explanation. Water tower in the background. Even if it's not released to the public, I should be allowed to hear it, and I might very well release it to the public. Wall Street Journal this morning said Hamas is in serious financial trouble and cannot pay salaries to terrorists. IDF's targeted attacks and aid cuts have disrupted Hamas sources of cash and the ability to distribute them in the Gaza Strip. Turkey is freezing. An unprecedented frost wave has hit Turkey, destroying up to 80% of crops in 36 provinces, minus 15 degrees Celsius or 5 degrees Fahrenheit in April. Vineyards were crushed, cherry trees were covered in ice, and orchards collapsed. No harvest, no recovery, and masses of farmers are on the verge of bankruptcy. U.S. military has announced that they have destroyed the Houthi fuel port of Ras Isa. According to the Houthis, United States airstrikes on Ras Isa ports have killed at least 17 workers and port staff, with a dozen more injured. U.S. State Department, we can confirm that the Chinese satellite technology company Changguang is directly supporting the Houthis. Hamas has rejected a ceasefire offer, deafening silence from the ceasefire now people. I heard there's a couple that have been talked about, but they're not there yet. President Trump says, I didn't want stop an Israeli attack on Iran. I'm just in no hurry to do it. Zero Hedge said made in China versus made in America, April 16, 2025. Well, China's status as the world's largest manufacturing hub seems to be a law of nature these days, one only challenged by President Trump that hasn't always been the case. In fact, as Felix Richter of Statista has shown a chart, as recently as 2009, the U.S. had more manufacturing output as measured by total value added in the sector than China. So that's not that long ago. Israeli preparations for an independent strike on Iran is underway, Israeli M12 News says. Citing unspecified foreign reports, Israel can launch effective assault on Iran's nuclear program even without U.S. support, according to the report. Ukraine and the U.S. have signed a memorandum of understanding on minerals. I'm sure ABC, CBS, and NBC had this all over their news wires, correct? Oh, I guess they didn't. Ukrainian Finance Minister Sviridenko. Today, we look at a step towards a joint economic partnership agreement with the United States. We signed a memorandum which testifies to the constructive joint work of our teams and the intention to finalize and conclude an agreement that will be beneficial to both our peoples, Ukraine's Ministry of Economy, Sviridenko, has stated. Preparing the creation of the investment fund for the reconstruction of Ukraine, corresponding agreement will open up opportunities, significant investment, modernization of infrastructure, a mutually beneficial partnership between Ukraine and the United States. It is with this goal that the teams are working on the document. I hope they get it done. Russia says Europe wants continuation of war as Ukraine allies meet in Paris. I mean, he's not wrong. U.S. judge on Thursday ruled that Google illegally wielded monopoly power in the online ad technology market. Interesting. Your video has been delisted. An illegal blow that could rattle the tech giant's revenue engine. Oh my God, we can't have that. Can't have that. Federal government and more than a dozen U.S. states filed the antitrust suit against Alphabet-owned Google, accusing it of acting illegally to dominate three sectors of digital advertising: publisher ad servers, advertiser tools, and ad exchanges. It is one of two federal suits targeting Google that could ultimately see the company split up and curb its influence. From your lips to God's ears. Part of a wider government push to rein in big tech. It's coming. It's coming, bro. It's coming. The vast majority of websites use a trio of Google Ads software products that together leave no way for publishers to escape Google's advertising technology, the plaintiffs allege. You know what the funny thing is about that article, folks? I saw it and I had to seek it down because it wasn't anywhere on Google. I had to go through a few little hoops. I found it. You know, it wasn't completely, but like what more do you need to know? What more do you need to know? I was like, oh, let me get that one. Click on the link. It's not there. Okay. Go to the website. It's not there. Okay. Go and look at like the little subcontext and everything and find the sub listing of where it would be. And sure enough, clicked on that and there it was. Just waiting for me to get and take the first 4 paragraphs from. It, you know, I think it's time to have the conversation that just some things are just a little too big. It's a little too big. Federal grand jury in New York returned a 4-count indictment against alleged CEO killer Luigi Mangione that charges him with 2 counts of stalking, firearms offense, and murder through the use of a firearm, a charge that makes him eligible for the death penalty if convicted. Trump says, I hope Europe will be great again. I'm not a big fan of what Europe has done with immigration. Europe is very important to me. Apple CEO Tim Cook privately raised concerns to U.S. Commerce Secretary Lutnick about how Trump's tariffs could drive up iPhone prices. Trump has for months privately discussed firing Fed's Jerome Powell. Trump has spoken with Kevin Warsh, a former Fed governor, about potentially firing Powell and possibly selecting Warsh to be his replacement. And CENTCOM, their official take on the destruction of Houthi-controlled Ras Isa fuel port, says Houthis have continued to benefit economically and militarily from countries and companies that provide material support to a designated foreign terrorist organization. Iran-backed Houthis use fuel to sustain their military operations as a weapon of control and to benefit economically from embezzling the profits of the import. This fuel should be legitimately supplied to the people of Yemen, despite the foreign terrorist designation that went into effect on the 5th of April. Ships have continued to supply fuel via the port of Ras Isa. Profits from the illegal sales are directly funding and sustaining Houthi terrorist efforts. Today, United States forces took action to eliminate this source of fuel for the Iran-backed Houthi terrorists and deprive them of illegal revenue that has funded Houthi efforts to terrorize the entire region for over 10 years. The objective of these strikes was to degrade the economic source of power of the Houthis, who continue to exploit and bring great pain upon the fellow countrymen. This strike was not intended to harm the people of Yemen, who rightly want to show off the yoke of Houthi subjugation and live peacefully. Houthis, their Iranian masters, and those who knowingly aid and abet their terrorist actions should be put on notice that the world will not accept illicit smuggling or fuel and war material to a terrorist organization. And there you have it. Yes. Yes, yes. Why do you complain about Google so much? Why do you do that? Because other creators aren't as financially set up as I am. And they can't say anything. They take a lot of crap. That's why. So, if you're going to put a butthead comment into the comment section, be prepared. I will friggin' light it up. I will make you look like an idiot. All right, friends. I appreciate you being here. God bless. Hit the like button, do the subscribe thing. Potentially consider to be one of the members here, like AM Ryan or Devil Dog Prepper. Appreciate you both. Yep, I'd love to have you back for more. I will keep going one form or another. We're not going to go anywhere quite yet. We're just starting to get a little frustrated. Seems there's a little bit of more of a concerted effort, but that's what these jackasses do. So I haven't stopped fighting yet, and I won't stop fighting ever. So, but we'll see. I might go another place if I have to, but PrepperNow is not going anywhere, as far as I know, unless they do something, but whatever. And then, of course, at the top of this is... What's that? Oh, ooh, brother. What's that? Yep, that's a super secret. Anything ever really bad happens, we'll go there. So, yep, put one out there today. Check it out. Okay? All right, friends. I appreciate you all. God bless you. And we'll see you on the next one. Hit the like button. Do the subscribe thing. Darken out the bell. And, yeah. Let's go on over to PrepperNow. Let's keep going. I'm up. I'm fiery. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with me, but today I've been I just get in moods sometimes, and it's just one of those where I'm ready to rumble. So, all right, friends, God bless. See you over at PrepperNow.